opportunity to come before you in our prayer. We pray for all of the action items and discussions that we'll have today, or just the agreements that we may enter into, the continuing discussion on spending of the remaining ARPA funds, Lord, that you would help us to resolve how to spend those in a way that is just the very best and really with the best results. Thank you for your willingness to hear us today. Thank you for this great weather that you've given. Thank you for the privilege to serve, and Lord, thank you that you do take the time and hear us, and that you will help us as we reach out and ask for you to give us the thinking and the wisdom to make good decisions here. Thank you for those that serve in our county. Thank you for what looks like the beginning of the completion of our new 911 project out at the other end of the building. We're grateful, and how you bless us, and not only in things that we can see, but Lord, just in the life that you've given us. We love you, and we thank you for that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have minutes. Well, first of all, Jack, would you like to update us as to your new hardware there?
Yes, so absolutely. So this is a tripod and this is a phone, but besides that, we just want to increase the accessibility that the county has to these meetings, because not everybody can make it during the week. So right now, we're not live streaming. This is just going to be a recording that we post to our YouTube channel, where we post links to the agenda, later the minutes, and we just sort of give a brief synopsis and just sort of timestamp the relevant spots where you all discuss things. That way people can just sort of get a better context of what you all are discussing in the meetings, kind of like what the city does with their live streams. So, and we anticipate it's going to take me a while to upload it to YouTube because it's from my phone right now, but I anticipate that they should be up by the end of the week. And yeah, I guess eventually we can get to live streaming, but we have to have a certain number of subscribers on YouTube before we do that. So right now it's just recording. It's kind of a makeshift device I rigged up here, but I think it will do a lot of good for everybody and make everybody's life a little bit easier. And because whenever we do senior tax exempt stuff later in the year, that would be easier for you to just take clips of that and then share that to your YouTube page to sort of give an explanation of what's going on with those and why it's beneficial. So that's the goal.
Good. Welcome.
Does it have a name? Yeah.
Not yet. We're taking suggestions.
All right. Very good.
So how many YouTube subscribers do you have currently?
Well, considering we've only had one video and that was before I've been here, it didn't even tell me the number. So yeah, it looks like we're kind of starting from scratch. Yeah, probably 3 and 2 being my mom and dad or something. But we'll just have to see. I hope that we can do this with other meetings that the public would benefit from seeing in the future. Mm-hmm. You all are just kind of the trial run for this, so we appreciate your willingness to give this a try.
Your YouTube channel, does it have a name?
It's the LCR record, I believe, right now, and I need to go and set it up a little bit later today, and I will post a link on our Facebook either today or tomorrow with a link to the page so that everybody can see that and access, along with some of our general procedures and policies for recording meetings. And you're free to suggest any guidelines or policies you'd like as well that we can take into consideration for commission meetings. We're just gonna get all of our stuff written out on page so that that's visible to everybody too.
Sure. What about some of the, to increase your YouTube channel, ultimately to get subscribers, what about the ability to do like Jolie Barber buckskin football?
I think that would be good too. The problem is always, how much time do I have in a week to do this? So I'd like to start with public meetings, and then going forward, I would need to talk a little bit with sports just around the county too, because we're trying to get more coverage of Joey Barber in Conway too. We're trying to get more coverage of that in the papers, so that's an ongoing conversation.
Good. Maybe it'll be able to expand that and let some of the grandparents that are unable to get to games maybe see some of their grandchildren play or cheerlead or whatever it might be. So that would be awesome. So
Yes, I have people asking me about that already, so.
Okay. And I know that there's a successful Jacket Nation that does Lebanon football. So I don't know if it could ever be expanded, and like you said, if there's other resources that are required in one of those times. So thank you. We have minutes for the 3rd and 10th, and I do have something on the 10th that I need to mention. And on the 10th, we never heard back, and I can confirm this with Mike, but to the best of my knowledge, before the decision was made, and it was approximately a week beyond the request from Willard Asphalt and Mid-Missouri Seal Coating, if they would honor their bids from last year, we never heard back from Willard Asphalt. And it says here, Willard Asphalt and Mid-Mo Seal Coating affirmed they would still honor the bids that were submitted. So to the best of my knowledge, Willard Asphalt did not respond to our request.
Okay.
And that would be my change, and I'll confirm that with Mike again, but before that was brought back up to the vote, we had not heard back from them. And then that's the only thing I had, so unless there's other questions, then I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from September 3rd and September 10th.
Motion to approve as changed.
Okay, we have a motion second to approve the minutes as amended for September 3rd and September 10th. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Minutes approved. I didn't catch that ahead of time, sorry about that. All right, next item on the agenda, I put on there CDT applications. I didn't know whether we had any more that came in, but I did reach out to, at our last meeting, we had an application presented to us from Lebanon Rural Fire Protection. There was some discussion on that regarding the use of the funds, and I was asked to reach out to Lebanon Rural Fire District just to gather more information as to the nature of the request. I made that call and I've not heard anything back. So I'll present that again if there's any desire to move forward, or if not, I will renew my efforts to reach out to them.
My vision would have to be, we need to follow the protocol, which is, I don't think that quite falls in. Unless you guys can tell me different, that wasn't my interpretation.
Yeah, I think we're still probably at the same discussion mode that we were
Okay.
in when we were visiting, or
I
wanted
will-
to visit with them.
I will make another call and hopefully have something to report next Tuesday then.
All right, so Linda, we didn't have any new ones coming in. Okay, and then we have, the next on the agenda was the Conway SRO agreement. Do we have that? Is this the same as last year?
With updated figures,
Okay,
salary, work comp, insurance. Both liability and health.
okay, I'll pass that down for review. And I can assume everyone knows what the SRO agreement is, but if not, I can quickly, while Darrell and David are reviewing that, this is an agreement between Laclede County and Laclede County R1 schools regarding one of our deputies assigned there as a school resource officer. And the agreement would state that they reimburse us for the expense, the salary, and the associated payroll expenses and liability insurance. And we will take that up here for discussion and action, and then we'll forward it to their board for consideration and action. And this is a 9-month contract. I didn't look at that. Is this a 9-month or annual? How do we do that?
It's an annual,
It's an annual.
yeah, but
Okay.
it's also listed what usage they're responsible for.
Okay.
Timeframe.
And so the amount stated in there is the agreed upon amount for that usage and for us committing, contracting for that deputy to be there. Okay. Okay, so it's not prorated, I guess is my question.
It just states the full months and the partial months.
Okay. So Jack, does your camera record audio as well, and you just use that backup just in case?
We do, yeah. This is for my notes, so that whenever I go back, I can make sure I quote
I
people
got
right.
you. Okay, after reviewing that, I will restate the proposed agreement between Laclede County and Laclede County R1 schools for a school resource officer. And the amount is $56,875.52, and that's inclusive of wages, employment, FICA, work comp, liability, and health insurance. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the agreement.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion second to approve the agreement as stated. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Agreement approved. approved here, and then we'll send that to Conway. All right, next item on the agenda would be, general discussion on remaining, ARPA balance. I hope to have some updated, estimate on that, but I don't. But I'll entertain the discussion that we have regarding the remaining ARPA funds.
I've done some inquiries into counties that, on the chip and seal, visiting about some of that, and I haven't found a county that's doing it themselves currently, and I've still got some information out to three or four of them that I thought maybe they did, but one that I thought did it, they don't do it any longer. They hired out, and so far, Emery Sapp and Son, ESS, and Blevins are the two that they generally, most people are saying that that's who they have, go out for bid at the beginning of each year, and that's who they use. Some of the counties that were doing chip and seal are not doing it any longer. They've moved in and purchased like some asphalting equipment, and if they get short stretches of a mile or less, they do it themselves, and anything over that, they just bid it out. So it's kind of everybody's doing a little something different, and like everybody's trying to do it as reasonable as, I tell you, as cheap as they can, but we know that that's not easy to quantify in this type of business, is doing it cheaply. So I've got a couple more counties that I think there's actually 3 that I'm waiting to hear something back. I had 2 of them this morning call me back, and it's a process of trying to figure out how to get to that, but a lot of them are just putting them out and having them contracted. So we were kind of, and I haven't had a chance to visit with Mike on this or Leanne about what some of those equipment costs might look like, but some of that might be great if you could find something that's used, but and then again, it's visiting with Mike on some of this as well, that he's kind of iffy on whether we would do that, and if it would also, if our roads are in the condition that would help them, or you'd need to pave them to get them up to the point and then save them from that sealing. So continuing discussions on that part of it, as I brought that up last week. So I don't go down easy, but I'll keep digging and trying to find. I sure thought, and they did do this. Stone County did some of their own. Those were some of the roads I drove here a couple years ago, and man, those are nice. They no longer do that themselves. They go out for contracting.
Cost of owning equipment today is outrageous.
Yep. So there's that input on that from last week.
Okay, thank you for that update. David, do you have any comments or suggestions?
Well, the road, I think the county has been down in the past when we've tried to chip and seal roads, they just don't hold up. And to make them hold up, you basically gotta prep it like asphalt, and then the chip and seal still doesn't hold up, because it's not designed for the weight that we have going across our roads, we've got trucks and so on and so forth. So I just, if you're in the mood chip and seal. And I don't have any numbers in front of me, but, you might as well plan on going to asphalt. Kind of, to me, I think the county's been down that road before, and we can't afford to do it ourselves, I don't believe, with any funds that we have, so it's, I just don't see how we can get from A to B with what little bit we have.
So Darrell, keep,
Yeah, I'm gonna keep digging.
yeah,
in it.
keep digging, let us know what you come up with, and,
Yeah.
and then maybe by next week, you'll have some data for us.
Yeah.
And then, I will get an updated estimate on the remaining fund balance, so that we'll have a better idea
Mhm.
what our target would be, cause it's getting tight on the timeline to be able to get everything bid out and get it committed for, contracted for, and scheduled and
Mhm.
comply with the ARPA guidelines, so.
Yeah.
I'll bring that back next week. All right, any other ideas on the ARPA funding? We did put out for bid the, request for proposals for, sealing the existing courthouse. To the best of my knowledge, that was done 7 years ago, and, at that time, it was about maybe a $55,000, $45,000 or $55,000 project. But that was one of the discussed uses that we might use the ARPA money for.
Mhm.
So we'll see what that comes in at. That bid will probably be back in, probably not Tuesday, but it'll probably be the following Tuesday. And we'll see what kind of proposals that we get on that. And so we can keep that on the list to, for consideration. Another project which probably could come out of ARPA and or maintenance, looking at the maintenance, upkeep and repair, we're tracking fairly well for the year. And so this, if we decide it's needed and we do it, and I'll put the caveat on there, if it's needed, is these doors here on the 2nd Street entrance. And the caveat is, I'm connecting the door company to the local company that would do the electronic latches there. And as of yesterday, I do not have the information that I need to make this decision. But if we replace those doors with new electronic latches, we're about $15,000 to do that. One party tells me that the electronic latches there are unavailable. The other party tells me, yes, we can get them. And so until I have a definitive on that, then I'm not prepared to make a suggestion which way to go. But the worst case it could be is 15,000. And so that's kind of on that list of things that if we want to use ARPA funds for, we can, or if we want to use that out of the remaining repair and upkeep for the year, that's a possibility as well. So hopefully I'll have more information on that next Tuesday. The doors themselves are still serviceable with some minor repair, but the problem continues to be that electronic latch. And so if we can replace that, there wouldn't be any need to do the doors. But if we can't replace that electronic latch, then these doors actually have new electronic latches that go, I can do visually, well, they go up from the door post up into the header, and, that seems to be the best solution, short of can we repair what we have, and we've attempted to repair those maintenance has over the course of the last probably year and a half, multiple times, to try to keep those, functioning for us. So we'll see what happens on that. Linda and I met with, Sumner One last week, and they gave us an update on, our computers that, and I may let Linda lead this, but it'd be the computers that we have that will not take the Windows 11 upgrade. And without the Windows 11 upgrade, then that increases our vulnerability for security reasons. So there is a consideration here as to the number of machines that would need to be updated due to that Windows upgrade and no longer supporting offering security patches and so forth. And as we've invested considerably over the last 5 years to try and keep this fence around the courthouse so that we do not have any data breaches, that's going to be a requirement. So there's 27 of those. Is that a correct number,
Yeah,
Linda?
it is.
Okay. And then the determination could be, would any of the ARPA funds be used for that? There's a breakdown by office, and I think Linda could probably email that to you, so you could actually look at those and see by breakdown by office where those are located. And then there's some Windows upgrade that's not any cost associated with that. That'll be done. They recommended consideration for a new server. It was about $18,000. My thoughts on that, it's good for at least another year. And in the world I lived in, anytime you can continue to use a piece of hardware and get the life out of that, gets you to that next junction point in technology. So I would personally not recommend that we update that server this year, and they agreed. They just wanted to give us that option. Next year there may be a server available that we would need to upgrade that would have additional features and capabilities and security. And so I hate to upgrade unnecessarily. So,
But we could use those funds as committed funds if we wanted to.
pardon me?
We could commit the funds here for next year if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Well, and to continue with that thought process, another thought that I had would be not only what we would use overall for the courthouse, but what maybe each department, what each elected office holder may have. You know, we always do like equipment and that kind of stuff at year end on budget, that when they submit it, maybe there's something there where we would look at it, and not necessarily would that come out of GR next year, it could come out of this particular pot and help that process, even if there's a, I mean, they're always have needs for this or that, and they maybe put it off so they can get it put into it, but there may be some communication to other office holders that they may have some potential in-office needs that they would do through ARPA rather than through regular budget process. I don't know if that's skirting the issues with ARPA or not, but.
To the information, they're supposed to be getting us something.
Okay. But that, some of those are, I don't know, I'm trying to think from past what some of those requests have been, but some of them can be a little bit expensive. Depends on what you're replacing, or think of the recorder's office, more cabinets or something for whatever. There's lots of cabinets over there, but, just potential one-time things that you would buy now with these funds rather than kick it back later and try to come up with a GR balance for it. Just throwing it out there.
Okay, another item we talked about, and we haven't had any visual inspection yet, but we reached out to a roofing company to come and give us some type of evaluation on our existing roof. Warranty on the roof runs out next year, and we had inquired about them just letting us know what it might need at this point. And I hopefully sound like a broken record here, but when we called them, they said it'd be two to 3 weeks before they'd be down. So that'll be coming by pretty quick to look at that and give us an appraisal on the roof. It wasn't for a new roof necessarily. That wasn't the idea. It was just, was there any maintenance, preventive maintenance that could add up to some substantial dollars that would help extend the life of what we already have. So that was another item we put out there. And we still have a few items left on the 911 center. We have the signage that we need to now renew our efforts on that now that the brick is complete, and there would be accessibility to that wall, so that remains there. Not sure of any other needs down there. Furniture's been purchased, but there may be something come up there, Darrell, to your point, but I'm not aware of it at this stage.
So I don't know whether this is regular maintenance budget or if it's something that we're looking to do with ARPA or whatever, but I've been working on get these floors stripped and waxed and buffed, and I've tried 5 times with the company that gave us an estimate last December or January. I can't get anything back from them. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. And then you start trying to find others, and so I've contacted 3. 2 no replies, and I got 1 yesterday, and it was actually a lead from Lebanon Cleaning Crew. I contacted them and thought, well, let's start there because they may run into that, and they actually had somebody, and he actually called me back. And so he is coming Thursday to look at these, and it's of church building maintenance, and his name is Chris. So they do. Ironically, they do a couple of grocery stores in the area, so those are high traffic, high maintenance floors, and that tells me they probably have got their processes down pretty good to be able to do those. So he's coming in to do that. He'll have an estimate for us. I couldn't even guess at what square footage of tile we've got in here. He kind of wanted to know the condition. I go, well, it's foot traffic, it's not grocery cart traffic on top of it, so that does make a pretty big difference. So you don't have stuff that's grocery cart wheels that are scraping up and down through them, and yeah, so but he'll be here Thursday, and we'll kind of talk about a timeline for him to complete that or to do it, and he was, well, I may have late November open. I go, he said, does that work? And I go, kind of like early October if that's possible, but so he didn't rule that out. He just said we probably change stuff around, move things, and it's the fall and early winters when mostly grocery stores want to have theirs all redone because they're getting out of summer, and people get them prepared for the holidays and that kind of stuff, and that's true, they always want to have their best looking. But he did say that it's probably a possibility that they can get something put together. So that process is, we've got somebody that's coming finally, and the other one's not a return call yet. Verdict is still out on 2 of those.
Sounds like you're having the same look I am.
Yeah, it's surprising. I was shocked that this guy called me back within a couple hours after I got his information, left him a voicemail. I wasn't expecting it. I was like, that's a novel idea. Is a business person call you back, and it hadn't happened on this so far, so yeah, it's not. So they don't do carpet, and so that would be an extra measure. I think that bid from Springfield was the hard floors and shampooing the carpets up in the judicial portion of the. So that was the carpet. So we had, and I think like he said, is he used to do both, and he said he went starving artists when he was doing carpet cleaning, because there's so many of them, and he said there's people do it like a whole house for $100. You can't make it. And so he basically got completely out of that, went to straight tile floors, stripping, waxing, buffing. So that might be a dual process of having somebody do that.
Very good, if we could get him in here, first of October, before the heavier foot traffic comes in for the tax season. And that would work out good for, an open house.
That's kind of what I was trying to tie them together with, is that we could have it done prior to that with open house. Not knowing exactly when we might be looking at doing that, but
Well, we're gonna talk about that.
I knew we were gonna lead into some of that, or open up discussion, yeah.
Back to your question on whether it could be ARPA or maintenance right now, and we will have a few invoices yet that'll come out of here. But currently in repair and upkeep, there will be some invoices, but we're at 49% remaining for the year. And that equals about $63,000. However, they did just, this week came and did the repair in RTU 3, that was $3,700. Then we have the plumbing issue that we had down in the jail, and I can only imagine what that might look like. But that's a pretty good chunk left for the year. And help me if I'm wrong.
I don't know if any of that falls there too, but.
Yeah. And then building service contracts, we have 27,000 remaining.
But that's cleaners and that.
Yeah, that'll probably be drained, I bet, because I'm thinking with the cleaning services, that will probably, the remaining balance there's 27,000 with 3 or 4 months left in that one's probably gone. Now, having said that, we do have the window cleaning scheduled for the building, and there's an estimate there that was given to the purchasing agent, and that they came and looked at that quicker than 2 hours there.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Okay. And they gave Mike that estimate, so that work's been scheduled.
Under the bid limit?
Pardon me?
Is it under the bid limit?
Yeah.
Yes, it's $3,500.
We did, I guess, I'm sure Mike probably asked this, but they're insured, bonded, or any of that?
Mike is very diligent about all that, yeah. She does not let anything slide. I can't even write on anything, but she did ask that we initial that. So,
I wasn't gonna do it until you said we had permission. Yeah.
And, Joe, for your, information, that was Jeremy Hensley. We gave him a call and he came right by and, so, that work's being scheduled. Okay?
Maybe he'd get into floor stripping and waxing business too, I'm just telling you that.
He stays pretty busy with the windows and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on ARPA funding, and at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I'll bring us the best estimate possible next Tuesday, and then that will be pretty close to the end of September, right?
Yeah.
And so we'll need to make some decisions quickly. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, now I'll just go to general county business.
Eliminated the shop, if you will.
I don't think it's been eliminated, David, I just don't believe that we've taken an active role in just really trying to figure out what that would amount to. Scaled back, it probably could still work. And if we wanna pursue that, then we probably need to get something put out there quickly for, proposals like we did for the 911 project. I'm sure it'd have to be something very similar to that. If that's something we'd like to pursue, we could push that out there.
I mean, depending on where we're at, we need to do something. Because the maintenance that we're talking about is not gonna eat it all up by any
No.
means. And so we need to figure out what that's gonna be.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that, and my best guesstimate at this point, and I hope I'm close, we're probably still in that 500,000 to 600,000 remaining in ARPA funding. And that could very well be sufficient to put up a very scaled back building back there.
We also need to quantify the need, but
Well, some of the reasons that we've heard before would be if there was a vehicle that was impounded for evidence purposes. You know, it could be secure in a bay. That would be one example that we've received. We probably have decided that it wouldn't be sufficient to for storage for all of our emergency OEM trailers that we have to eliminate that, the warehouse. You know, there is the one, the ambulance that was converted to the sheriff's use. You know, it sits outside there underneath a portable canopy, if you will. Seems like we always have some need for storage. I don't know if we could eliminate those two. Those two that the sheriff uses out there right now. I don't know if we could eliminate those. So I guess the question is, do we want to pursue it? And if we do, let's get our heads together and decide what that cost as far as the size. Maybe we'll get some preliminary numbers like you're doing with the chip and seal. You know, if we just made a couple of phone calls and said, hey, what's a 40 by 60, what's 40 by 80, whatever it might be. You wanna make a couple of calls, David, see what we, okay. If you don't care to do that, then that might help us just get a better idea if it's gonna fit that balance or not. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right, general county business.
I'm still working on the 911 advisory board appointee. Had about maybe three or four discussions. It takes quite a bit of time to describe it, think about it, and then get back, and then, so it's been a process of coming up. Haven't got that circled yet, so I'm still working on that portion of it for three or four that I have been, they would like to, but they're just not able to do it at this time, so. That'll be a continuation.
David, you want to give us an update?
Yeah, I had a conversation with David Reid, and he's willing to do it and has the time, so.
I need one of David Reid's on the west side, sort of, or an idea of somebody like him, if you've got one. That's good.
But he agreed, seemed very well, so. I think you'll be a great choice. Also, they should be releasing this week, I believe, if not next, the bids for the two bridges, Bobcat and Atlanta. So that's a go, and they'll be releasing the bids within this week or next week.
Those have been scheduled, and we'll open those bids at 10 o'clock on October 15th.
And it's 3 weeks thereafter when everything hits, so.
Is that, was something that Jeremy will come in here for?
Yeah, we'll open bids.
That's on Tuesday. That's all right.
Yeah. Well, we kinda left it open-ended depending on when they got it in LCR, it's Tuesday or Thursday.
It was committed. Jeremy called to make sure that we would have it on an agenda, and it was October 15th,
Good,
so
good.
it will be
So
on
he's
Tuesday.
got everything
Yeah.
lined up then.
And I think it's already in the newspaper, or will be, this week. He sent Mike a copy, and he'd confirmed with the newspaper that it would be in there, so.
Okay.
Yeah. We received the contract back from the Department of Agriculture on the remonumentation program with county surveyor. He had stated that he would be able to do up to 20. We agreed to fund our half of that, and we signed that contract, and I visited with Steve. I think he already has 6 or 7 of them done, and he doesn't see any reason why he won't have the 20 of them done by the time we have to submit for reimbursement, okay?
Did they approve 20 then?
They did approve 20, yes, they did, yeah. Yeah, and I believe our portion of that would be $7,000 if I'm not mistaken. So that, we'll put that in the 25 budget. You want that? In my case, we executed the contract and sent it back to them to be executed, so. I hope so, because if not, I'll be called on the carpet. Okay, any other general county business? The, annex, is still, getting close. The individual that contracted to finish hanging those cabinets, he'll do those, start tomorrow evening. And then I think our part over there is done. Really, thankful for the OEM volunteer staff. They volunteered to paint those doors over there and the trim. I haven't been over to look at that, but it looked to me like that was going very well, and I'm very appreciative of that. Looks like MU has cleaned out the attic, and they have moved a lot of stuff forward as they went through and separated. They obviously have a pile of stuff to be disposed of, and they had, at their expense, they had the carpet cleaned in that front conference room. So it looks like they're making progress on moving forward. I haven't given them any timeline. We really haven't discussed what we're gonna do with the, when they move, what we'll do with that. So I haven't said you've gotta be out of there by November 1 or whatever. So, but if we have any inquiries on that, space, or at some point if we want to just use that for county purposes, which I think will probably be, the direction I'd like to see us take, because we always need something for storage. So if we can't do this building out back, then maybe we can move some of that, paperwork and secure them over there and store over there. But, so if you have any inquiries, anybody wanting to rent office space, I checked with, Kelly at Life Point, but he had indicated they purchased the old KTTK building down there. So, they didn't need any office space at this time. So I think that project is, you know, I mean, it's virtually complete over there. It's, once those cabinets are set.
That was a great purchase by them. That included several parking spots in their parking lot. That was like, that side of the alley, that at one time, I think it had like 10 parking spots that went with that building. That's great. Good for them. A process that, one of those that I talked to on these counties that don't do this, and Webster County charges, to pave a road, they charge their residents $25 a foot, and they'll pave the road. I think, what's a mile, how many, 5,200 feet in a mile, 5,240 or something, I don't remember for sure. In a mile.
52,280, and I did 52,280.
5280, yeah. It's about 135,000 or something like that, so. Some of them don't decide to pave it then at that point. So the neighborhoods decide, no, I don't think we wanna commit our taxes to, and those are, they do them under, neighborhood improvement districts.
Is it continuing?
Yeah. They allow those to formulate together to put levies into their tax, I don't know how that actually, what county makes them, it's actually saying, yes, we will make that under the county, but it's paid back by the taxpayers that live in that neighborhood improvement district, I guess. But they have had some of them do it, but most of the time they decline at that rate, but they told me that that's what they charge, $25 a foot. So, maybe that's a good policy in the new year to come up if you wanna, well, you wanna get rid of that dust? Well, I know you don't really particularly fond of those neighborhood improvement districts, but,
If it's continuing.
so we've done them with, the lakes, and I don't remember if Whispering Oaks was one or not, but I can't remember that far back, but I knew the lakes was.
So part of it was, we had some of that, but it ended, and then it became the county's responsibility.
But yeah, that one is probably special road, I guess, I would think.
What
It was
about
ours.
Harold,
Lake Shore State?
what
No,
the
we haven't.
Harold Road subdivision out there, did they do NID, and that was before me, but that's in special one, I believe.
We've had them, but the people put in on them, and then it became one.
The county's
citizen
responsibility
became-
after it's there.
Right, and then it's
Yeah.
like, what if we, how do we afford them?
Yeah, I would say you're probably right there. Whoever, somebody has to take over maintenance after they're over with, but, gets them from here to here, but if it's an ongoing cost, then I just, once you've got it established, it's probably, what's a length of time for one of those? If you begin it and end it, is it a 20-year, 30-year thing, or 10?
If it's ongoing, it'd be ongoing.
Yeah.
The ones I've seen, it's been ongoing.
Yeah, Lake Shore State's the only one that I've been familiar with, and it ended.
Those had sunsets.
Yeah, it began at some point, and it ended, well, right after I came in office, I remember that sometime.
They were MRIs.
Categorized, yeah. So.
Okay, any other general county business? If you think of it, we'll come back to it before we adjourn. Public comments, items listed on the agenda. Okay. Routine business, Lindsey, I mean payroll, and did everyone have a chance to see the warrants that were paid? Everyone have a chance to see those? That's your grant.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yeah, get it and spend it.
And that's a reimbursement. And we were reimbursed, Leanne told me, for all the those jail grants, we've been reimbursed for that already. All right, and Linda has presented, her election services fund, and as a result of a grant that she applied for and received, there's new money involved of $11,750, and then it's offset with an expenditure for $11,750. So we've been asked to amend the budget for the Election Services Fund by that amount as a result of that grant. So after you review that, I would entertain a motion to amend the budget.
I'd make a motion we approve amend the budget for the Election Services Fund.
I would second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion second to approve the Election Services Fund in the amount stated. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Budget amendment. Okay. What is the others?
To discuss delegates, but
Okay. When's the SB 40 appointment?
October 1st.
October 1st. Okay. On these personal property add-ons, remind me where the late file penalty goes. Does that just go back into?
it's got statute for it. Some of the surf, I know.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
So they're asking that this and each paper clip.
Paper clip. Okay. Then we have the designation of delegates to Mac's annual conference, and we do this every year, and I forget how many we're eligible for, something like 7 maybe. Laclede, we're eligible for 5 voting delegates.
Those are the ones that have registered, just let the notes go.
Okay. Ones that have registered, that would be eligible to vote would be Christy, Jennifer, Heather, Linda, and myself. But if there's more than that, I think Joe is registered to go, but I don't think he'd be a voting member yet. I don't know, or either one of you wanna go to the MAC conference? I think they were gonna give all associate commissioners a free trip to Hawaii to get there. This is on TV, I know.
I was thinking about going.
This is during
Oh, I'm pretty
commercial
sure.
break,
Is that-
okay?
Or is it incoming? Is that like those going? I was trying to figure that out. That's on November 24th.
It's always the week of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think it's a week before Thanksgiving, yeah. That weekend before. Well, I don't really care to be a delegate, but I may go. So could we just make a motion that these 5 be?
You can, or you can discuss it at the next one. We've got time.
Yeah, there may be others that come, we need to look at that.
I mean, I agree with the ones that there.
Of course, what they were gonna do, they were just gonna pay for your airfare over there. And how you would get back home, or how you would eat cheeseburgers in paradise.
Who wants to go?
Is this the one that's, is this the one-way flight to Venezuela? Is that the one you're talking about?
That was it. That was
Man,
it.
that sounds like a highlight
Yeah.
to go there. Can't wait to visit.
Oh, goodness. Okay, Linda doesn't have anything else. Back to general county business. I believe it's the last week in October that we're looking at to have an open house. The commission, I believe we need to go ahead and put together some type of invitation list. I don't know that we'll have formal invitations, but we need to have something,
Invitation
just to attend, like certainly we wanna make sure that the greater community, on this date, this time, something that we can, be able to get posted in the Laclede record, invitations to, the contractor, the architect, if it's appropriate for the subs to be here. I think there's an effort to, seek, Governor Parson or some, statewide official, if we can get any of them down here. I think that would be appropriate. Probably ought to invite our state reps, state senator, and just have that ribbon cutting and that open public house. So I think that needs to come from the commission, and I think we need to get on it quickly. And so your ideas on that are more than welcome. So we can get that format. I think Darrell maybe is the date. On my calendar. So that, it wouldn't necessarily be the last week of October, because October 31st is on a Thursday, but possibly Thursday the 24th or Friday the 25th. I think are a couple of dates that we want to look at. And right now, it's anticipated that beginning next week on the 23rd, D'Amico will start the transition of the dispatchers, one station at a time, over into the new center. I'm not sure when Sheriff Millsap will open up the front door and station a person there. So,
And we probably want to definitely coincide with that, don't we?
absolutely, and in a conversation with Sheriff Millsap, we looked at the 24th and 25th as possible dates. So I'm confident that he will be ready to open that up prior to that, and just open it up, kind of have any hiccups that we might encounter, don't know what they would be, but
Maybe Halloween would be a good day. If everybody
Got
showed
candy,
up,
we
yeah,
got candy there.
give candy out.
Take your mask off.
Yeah,
Can't come in here, there's a jail back here.
sorry.
Yeah, we're 25th cents, those dates.
Okay.
We probably ought to invite federal delegation as well, that these are
Sure.
ARPA funds.
sure, sure. Yeah, and so that's what we need, we need eyes on that, we need to start that list, and we need eyes on that list so that we would not overlook
Yeah.
any person that we believe would want to be there and should be there,
Mhm.
so. Let's start that.
Yeah.
Linda, and probably, I'm guessing we could have Leanna and or Mike both start on this for us.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be tied up with elections, so.
But my
Mike
son's
would-
before.
Yeah, okay. I'll ask Mike to lead this. Great. Okay. All right, public comments, individuals who wish to make comments regarding items not listed on the agenda. So. Okay. Gentlemen, anything else?
October 2nd is the Laclede County MU Extension Ag days, and I keep thinking oh man, that's in October. That's in 2 weeks, so that date is 2 weeks away, and wow. Just to mention that, there's a brunch, and I don't know how many more seats are still available for that, but
I believe you showed up.
outside of the brunch, there is a free discussions going on in classes for grants and just small business type discussions, so those are gonna be there, and then there's also the booths and the setups, so you can take in a lot of the agriculture things that are going on in the county and maybe nearby areas as well, but those are, and it's a free day, so those, just another plug for that. I don't know if either one of you guys are gonna be at the brunch or not, but intending to, you probably need to get a hold of Extension Council. And that's October the 2nd, it's on a Wednesday, and that brunch starts, the doors open at 10:45, the brunch is at 11. So. Agribusiness Summit features goods, services, resources, and there's experts there to help you start or grow your own ag business. So, and lots of demonstrations. So it'll be a good time, it's all out with Wall Street Cattle Company. That seemed like that was a long ways out, but
Yeah, it was
looking at the calendar
months
today,
off,
yeah,
days
just,
ago.
yeah, it's not months off any longer, it's like 2 weeks away, so time has sped up.
we should take a look at the 911 building. Mark from DeWitt had sent out an email, and again, I don't know if he distributes these to everybody. I know you requested, so I don't know who gets what, but he's asking the architect to schedule a date as soon as possible to do the final punch list walkthrough, and there's only a couple items left, and I think we probably need to do our own walkthrough there today, because I anticipate that happening by next Tuesday, and we won't be back together, so that if there's anything that we see that we believe needs to be addressed, we can bring that up when they come here next week, and it won't be just, you know, here it is. We'll have the background on it as to why. Elevator obviously is working. Page office supply has the furniture assembled upstairs. I think there's still some work to be done. Painting, I think, maybe got all the touch-up painting was complete last week. The handrails going down the ramp into the existing front desk for the office, those were installed this week and I believe painted. So I'm not sure what else is lacking. One of the things on the punch list, if you want to look at the cast stone out here, I think they did a reasonably good job addressing our concerns with some of the rough edges. The one piece that was broken, they have it to be replaced. It'll come at some point in the future. They'll come back, but that's on the punch list. And then the rails, the handrails coming up, the existing entrance, those are still scheduled to be put in at some point in the future. We need to look at anything that's not finished. I think electronic solutions is not finished with some of the access control. Need to get them back over here. I don't know if they have the cameras put in or not. So, I mean, there's still, and that was on us. And then I think we need to renew our discussion on the signage so that we can move forward with that. And then part of that would be the remaining ARPA funds, and we know that was gonna be about, depending on what we do, that's gonna be about 30,000-ish, a little less, a little more.
Only thing I seen out front, they've got the fencing down, but we still have the outdoor public restroom facilities are still out there, so I guess they'll come and
They're
get those out
scheduled
there.
to be picked up. Randy, the construction superintendent, scheduled all that. They picked up the lift yesterday. They came and picked it up, and so I don't know when they'll be picked up, but I know he had all that scheduled to be removed. The dumpster was out there last week. Looked like the fencing got picked up over the weekend.
Did we schedule the seal coating on the parking lots?
We have, thank you for reminding me, that's been scheduled. They want to get it done as quickly as possible, and I also would like to mention that I would like to have this front, where we park here in front, I'd like to add that to his scope of work. And then I have it on my list to call the city today to see that once we get that done, if they'll come back and restripe those parking spaces for us. Technically, I think that would be the city, and I wanna make sure whatever code that would be appropriate, and at the same time ask them to restripe our crosswalk out here. So that's on my to-do list for today. If they say stripe them yourself, we'll do it. That didn't come out quite the way I wanted it to, But if it's on us.
You're on video, so it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's- yeah, then we'll strike them ourselves, okay? But I didn't know if I noticed that just driving around town, they've put in quite a few handicap parking spaces, and I didn't know if there was any new codes that needed to be adhered to. We have 3 spaces out front that have been designated as, handicap parking spaces.
I think it'd be nice to have that done.
I think so, yeah. Okay, anything else? You gentlemen wanna join us on a tour? You got time? Okay,
I do not have time.
you got time?
I do not have time, unfortunately. I'll have to be there for the final punch list, though. Sounds like fun.
Well, Lindy, you wanna go?
You
or-
wanna get punched?
Yeah.
To the building.
Yeah,
You want me to send you a video?
Oh,
I'm
I
gonna
trust
grab
you to
a
have fun, as
cup
long
of
as you don't fall
coffee.
down the elevator.
And we can't go through the front door unless Randy's there, cause he has that padlock, so we'll have to come back, we'll go through the back entrance, okay? All right, and then after we get done, we'll adjourn, unless something else comes up, okay?
Gotta go visit the little.
I just have to do some coffee.
Yep.